A real presence, whether it be at the old Griffin Park or here at the G-Tech Community Stadium. BBC Radio 5 Live on FA Cup third round Saturday. I was going to say weekend, but the fact that it's spread over Thursday to Monday, it's no longer a weekend, but FA Cup Saturday. We're across all 9 ties that are taking place at 3 o'clock. We've still got commentary to come from Ellen Road of Leeds United against Harrogate Town, that Yorkshire derby. And tomorrow, Tamworth against Tottenham at 12:30, to be followed by Newcastle United against Bromley. But it's a tall order that lies ahead for Plymouth Argyle, Rob Green.
Yeah, it's a real challenge for them, and I think they've shown such weakness at times. They've got a clean sheet, the first clean sheet of the season away from home last week, but they've such vulnerable nature in how they play, when they get hit on the counter-attack, when they lose the ball. If a team plays directly through them, they've got massive weaknesses with that, and in that is where Brentford's strengths are. When they go forward, when they go direct, when they go quick, they punish teams. You look into those weaknesses of Plymouth, they could really come into prevalence today.
Well, the Green Army, not Rob, well, as well as Rob, are in good voice as we're underway, and Plymouth Argyle in their green shirts and white shorts are playing from right to left as we look, and the ball straight away is picked up by Callum Wright and plays it out towards that far side, and there was a little touch for Sorinola as the ball goes back to Valdemarson, the Icelandic goalkeeper. A rare run out for him, only his 4th appearance. What's it like as a goalkeeper when you're not used to playing week in, week out?
Well, it's the balls over the top, it's the crosses, it's not so much the shots. You can practice the shots, you can practice things that you can do in training and, you know, in small-sided games as such and things like that. It's the judgments, it's the moments, the back passes when you've got someone chasing you down. No one presses you like they do in a game. Those are the small differences. So all through the game, just getting a feel of how the pitch runs and stuff like that is kind of critical to Valdemarson.
We've just shaded above freezing here on this chilly afternoon as the ball is played out to Ruaslav on this near side. Does look like they are playing with a back four for Brentford. Here is the South Korean defender, Kim Ji-soo, alongside to Sam Vandenberg, who they signed from Liverpool, his former club, through to the next round after beating Accrington Stanley by 4-0, as Ruaslav will not keep that diagonal ball in play. Blackburn Rovers won away at Middlesbrough by 1-0. Wolves 2-1 at Ashton Gate. They triumphed against Bristol City, and Birmingham City beat Lincoln City by 2-1. If there's a goal anywhere across the other games that are taking place at 3, you'll hear about it here on BBC Radio 5 Live. We're also available on the BBC Sounds app. And the position of the sun as well, so low down, is certainly causing a problem for Connor Hazard.
Yeah, there's one issue for him there, and they're looking to play out, and he just literally can't see halfway at the other end of the pitch. So he's saying, I don't know what my options are up the pitch, so I'm just going to go long.
Why would he not be wearing a cap?
Well, it's too low, and your eyes get conducive to the darkness, and then when you do lift your head up, you can't see anything, so it's actually even worse.
Good insight. Here is Ruaslav.
Or not insight.
Ball played back. Former England international goalkeeper Rob Green with us here on 5 Live. As Maghoma wants the ball and gets it out towards Ruaslav on this near side. Certainly Kevin Nanskaville, the caretaker manager, is hoping for his side to replicate another gutsy display. They held Stoke City away from home to a goalless draw for a team that has struggled on their travels. Not just the top 4 divisions of English football, but if you include the National League, Plymouth are one of 3 sides who are yet to win away from home in the top 5 divisions. Southampton in the Premier League and Ebbsfleet from the National League. So Plymouth Argyle supporters who travel loyally so many miles that they cover up and down the country will have done so with not a great deal of joy, as Rico Henry back in the starting lineup gets the ball. It'll be good for him to be back on the field after such a long absence.
Brilliant for him, brilliant for the club, and such an integral part of their success over recent years. So fantastic to see him on the pitch. He's going to get a lot of the ball. The fullbacks are going to get a lot of the ball, Plymouth are playing three at the back, and the wing backs are being pushed back in at the moment. So the two full backs, including Rico Henry, are just going to get a lot of time on the ball. They'll drop into that pocket of space, that area in and around their back line. They're controlling the game right now, Brentford.
First goal in the 3 o'clocks has come on Weir side. Sunderland 0, Stoke City 1, and Andy Sixsmith has details on it.
And it's come from the penalty spot, Ian. Stoke 1, Sunderland 0, and it is Tom Cannon scoring yet again. Calm penalty down the middle after Lewis Kumas was felled in the area. Sunderland 0, Stoke 1.
We welcome listeners from the BBC World Service, wherever you are. Good afternoon from West London, the G-Tech Community Stadium, the home of Brentford. And certainly when I was appearing on the World Service earlier, we had an interview with Michael Baidoo, the Ghanaian international, born in Accra. So if you're listening in Ghana, wouldn't say it's necessarily a warm welcome, but a kwaba to you, as so far you haven't missed anything in these opening 4.5 minutes. There's yet to be a shot registered on target at either end. It's 0-0 this FA Cup Saturday, as we will pay a visit to John Southall at Stamford Bridge.
Good afternoon, Ian. Chelsea 0, Morecambe 0, but the first opening for the League Two side, Ben Tollett on the right of the area, cut inside. His shot was fumbled by Jorgensen, claimed at the second attempt. Chelsea 0, Morecambe 0.
Mumba trying to lose and break away from the shackles of Carvalho. Did well, actually. Infield then to Roberts, quite a diminutive figure. Out towards that far side is Galloway. Nola, who's just come back in for the last 2 games. It's a good forward ball. Looking to try and get onto that was Michael Baidoo, who was in good form actually for Elfsborg. He's a Ghanaian international who they signed for £1 million. 15 goals he scored for the Swedish side. He's not the biggest in stature, is he? What is he, about 5'9", would you say?
Well, he's dwarfed by the centre-halves of Brentford, but it's a really well-timed run between the two of them. And Nola, it's a fantastic slid ball from that right wing-back position through on that angle, that slide pass, and it was a really poor first touch because it was a really good opening for him to just get your shot away first time. Decided to take a touch and it was a poor one.
He was telling Lee James, the presenter of the BBC World Service Sports World programme, that his idol is Michael Essien, and it would be such a big moment for him to make his debut in the FA Cup, and here he is making his exactly that, and he had an opportunity, and Mumba has done ever so well as he spins his way in towards the penalty area with a nice little pirouette, and then he just overrun it. But a couple of encouraging moments for the Championship side.
Well, he did the hard part brilliantly, beat 2 men with a wonderful round-the-world turn and then ran straight off the pitch. But yeah, they're showing confidence, Plymouth.
Here is Jensen out to Ruerslev. Jensen, who returned on New Year's Day after missing 6 games with a thigh injury. Ball played out by Carvalho. Henry will look to get forward from left back, and the cross is a deep one in towards the penalty area. Goes out towards Ruerslev, keeps it in play. Brentford are still threatening on this near side, the right. Here is Maghoma. Gets it back then from Carvalho. Looks to try and turn on his first start for Brentford, but 0-0, and Plymouth are forcing them away. Let's go to Charlie Slater, a penalty.
Leicester 4, QPR 2. Jamie Vardy from the penalty spot. Harrison Ashby handled across. Vardy stepped up and slotted it home. 4-2 Leicester.
Plymouth are attacking. Right. Jumps out of the challenge from Maghoma. Looks for a long diagonal ball, but Rob Green has already mentioned the aerial domination that those Brentford defenders have over Michael Baidoo, and they easily won the ball. Damsgaard couldn't thread it through, but Plymouth Argyle, who in recent FA Cup ties, you might recall when they played at Chelsea 3 years ago, they took the lead. They were only beaten 2-1 on that particular day in West London. Had a couple of bright moments, and crucially have denied Brentford any opportunity in the opening 8 minutes. 0-0.
Yeah, Brentford have had a lot of the ball, and there's been 1 or 2 glimpses and openings for them. Shada's up front, he's playing against 3 centre-halves. But there, it's the first sign of frustration, really. A long ball over the top, which was hopeful and hopeless as much as anything. But Plymouth will take heart from how they started from this game.
Swindon Crew, Walsall earlier in the early game beat Tranmere to go 13 points clear of Crewe, but Swindon Crew, which is the only game taking place at 3 o'clock in League Two, has been stopped after 4 minutes at the county ground due to fog. It certainly looked murky at Leicester as Plymouth lose the ball, and this is an opportunity that Carvalho almost takes advantage of. He got a shot away from the edge of the deep, and it was a very good save by Hazard at full stretch, away towards his right for a corner kick.
Yeah, sharp save, and they lose it in midfield after showing the confidence that they've had on the ball. Carvalho, 22 yards out, right on the D. Struck one towards the top corner. Didn't really have the power to trouble him, and with the bend, it was aided Hazard, but he needs that. This is a real problem for Plymouth in the corners, because they've got a number of players who are a lot smaller. Brentford, they're known for their set pieces.
They were working on a number of set-piece routines under Keith Andrews in the warm-up. Jensen is going to take the corner kick in front of the travelling support, far side, and after all that it's rolled short to Damsgaard, back to Jensen, plays the ball in, the goalkeeper very bravely got something on it and back to his feet very quickly. Damsgaard is back in possession though. Yarmouk in the midfield for Brentford, looking to try and keep the pressure on the Championship side. We've been playing for nearly 10 minutes here on BBC Radio 5 Live, the World Service, and available on the BBC Sounds app, as Maghoma gets the ball back. He's 23 years of age, signed on a free from Tottenham, as Carvalho was just fouled, and the referee, who is Ben Toner, gives a free kick to the home team. Rob.
It was a well-worked corner routine, that actually. It's a short corner which drew the near post man out, and it created that space, and they clearly aimed the target. The runners across there. Connor Hazard in goal again, dealt with it really well. Warning signs, just a couple for Plymouth.
Pleguezuelo, the Spanish defender, just had a talking to from the referee. Of course, there's no VAR. It was previously operational at Premier League grounds or at Wembley, but it will only be in place for round 5 and onwards. So at least the FA showing a lot of consistency, which was unlike previous years in the competition. Henry a far side, infield to Damsgaard, might open up for Damsgaard, threads it to Yarmouk. Flag had stayed down. Henry, left-hand side of the penalty area. Carvalho plays it towards Damsgaard, looks for a shooting chance again. Damsgaard tries to weave his way through, goes down under the challenge. Referee has a good look at that, and because there's no VAR, we know that play is going to continue as Plymouth clear.
That's good from Damsgaard. There's not much of appeal from the Brentford players, which makes you think that there was a touch from a foot from a Plymouth defender, but really sharp feet. He's fleet-footed, isn't he? He likes to jump in, jump out of touches, and it's difficult to play against.
Looking to get on top here, Brentford. Damsgaard seeing a lot of the ball. Carvalho getting involved as well. Far side, triangular passing patterns back towards Damsgaard in the cross. Ruersleff on the stretch, heads the ball up, and Mumba will volley the ball away for Plymouth. A goal at Bournemouth in the FA Cup. Aaron Paul.
Bournemouth 0, West Brom 1. Caleb Taylor has his first goal for West Bromwich Albion. It was a free kick in from the right from John Swift. Grady Diangana's initial header hit the crossbar. It fell back to Taylor, who looped it past Kepa. Bournemouth 0, West Brom 1.
Remember, Leicester City are leading Queen's Park Rangers by 4 goals to 2. That's a 2 o'clock kickoff. It's 0-0 here, 12 minutes played. And Brentford, left to right as we look, have a corner on this near side, the right, that Jensen is going to come across to take. Damsgaard is available right corner of the area. This should be an out-swinging corner from the Danish midfielder Jensen. The right arm goes aloft. Indeed it is. Doesn't beat the first man. Headed away by Sorinola. Played back though to Jensen. Damsgaard whips it in, and it'll bounce into the grateful arms of Connor Hazard, who dives down onto the ball. A goal at Exeter in the Cup. Paul Scott.
14 minutes on the clock, and it is Oxford who have the advantage. They've scored from an Exeter corner, a swift counter-attack from left to right. Dane Scarlett across the face of goal. Matt Phillips with the finish. Exeter 0, Oxford 1.
Ball played out from Pleguezuelo. Down the line he will go. He will look for Sorinola on that right-hand side, the right wing back, who puts a bit of pressure on Henry, but Henry shows his strength and gets the applause from Thomas Frank. You know, when Thomas Frank first arrived, and he was appointed in October 2018, but when he first came to the club, before he was appointed the manager, that was 8 years ago. Rico Henry is the only player who is still here from that time.
Yeah, and it shows.
Got a long connection.
It shows what they have in terms of the continuity of the club, that they can replace their players. They know they're going to have to go through players, know they're going to have to recruit. That's where the recruitment process comes in. It's been such a well-run club in that regard, and had such a reward for it, being in the Premier League so long now.
Voice of Rob Green on this Saturday afternoon, as this is Kim Rueslev back with Kim once more. Vandenberg, short ginger hair, with his central defender for Brentford in the centre circle. Jensen keeps dropping back as well, almost to form a three that allows Henry and Rueslev to get forward on that far side the left and this near side the right respectively.
And what it does do is pins the full-backs, the wing-backs of Plymouth back, and then it just gives you all the time that you want for Brentford to pick your passes, take your time, control the game.
And now Jensen moves into the midfield as Brentford try and further get down the field, and they get a corner kick as well. We'll go to Norwich. Chris Coles.
Norwich 0, Brighton 0. Norwich so close to the opener. Amankwa forced at the edge of the area. Great effort, left foot crashes off the inside of the post. Norwich 0, Brighton 0.
Quarter of an hour played then here at the G-Tech Community Stadium. Brentford 0, Plymouth Argyle 0. Brentford though have got another corner kick. It's on that far side the left. Once again I notice that Keith Andrews is out, and it's he who is just trying to get those subtle instructions across to his team. As looking into the sun, Hazard, the Plymouth goalkeeper, it's actually rolled short once more to Damsgaard. Back to Jensen, another routine into Carvalho. Let it come across his body and then hit it first time left-footed, but Hazard made another good save at his near post, two-handed behind for a corner.
Yeah, another shot from Carvalho, another good save, and that near post routine, that short corner, that space, it's the same space that he whipped the ball into. This time it's a flat, just slid pass in there, and Carvalho's alive to it. It's premeditated, it's well worked, and it created another opening.
So Jensen does have Damsgaard available. They've already worked it short twice, they're going to do so a third time. And Jensen again will curl it in, and the Plymouth defence is under pressure. It's up rather than away, but the referee has blown his whistle. The flag's up on this near side, and it'll be a free kick to Plymouth Argyle. 3 times now they've had corners on the left, same routine each time.
Yeah, and the players are having a meeting on the pitch. The Plymouth players are having a meeting now, saying we've got a problem, we need to sort this out. They're having meetings on the dugout as well, saying we've got a problem here, because any more of these, it's going to cause us a real problem.
Straight to Stamford Bridge, John Southall.
Chelsea 0, Morecambe 0. Chelsea have a penalty, a Felix shot handled by Sango, and Christopher Nkunku will take the penalty in front of the shed end, in front of the Morecambe supporters. 12 goals so far this season, stands on the edge of the penalty area. Away fans trying to put him off, steps up, and it's saved by the goalkeeper, and Nkunku on the rebound, and it's saved again. And what a moment for those fans behind the goal. Chelsea 0, Morecambe 0.
Well, wasn't expecting that.
Brilliant. Double save from a keeper. He always saved them and they always score the rebound, but for once the keeper makes a double save.
Still a member of the Goalkeepers Union.
Once a member, always a member, thank you.
16 and a half minutes played, 0-0. Back it goes to Valdemarsen, who's in a blue goalkeeping outfit away towards our left. A two-tone blue is the Icelandic Brentford goalkeeper. Damsgaard sweeps it forward. Sharda will give chase. Sharda will get onto that little flick header first as well and passes the ball in towards the penalty area, but behind Damsgaard and behind Rico Henry. Carvalho races after it, left corner of the penalty area. Still goalless here in West London on 5 Live in the World Service. Maghoma, nice little ball round the corner from Carvalho, but there breaking it up in the midfield was Roberts for Plymouth, and in fact there was Beidou fouled, and the referee will give a free kick to the Championship side as we'll go to the City Ground and Lee Blakeman.
Forest 0, Luton 0. Forest have gone close through Jota Silva, 12 yards out, shot well blocked, and then Liam Walsh for Luton's just put in a shot from 25 yards out. Brilliant save by Forest keeper Carlos Miguel to keep it at Forest 0, Luton 0.
Next midweek, every Premier League game will be live on the 5 Live network, and Nottingham Forest Liverpool on Tuesday night on 5 Live. The station itself will be our featured game from the City Ground. But Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday will have 3 successive nights of Premier League games as Plymouth are attacking. Shot played in by Wright. Valdemarsen was down very, very quickly. Managed to get something on it.
Yeah, really good save, because he hit it well, but he's hit it with a little bit of dip, and he's gone with one hand rather than two, and that's risky, but he judged it perfection because the angle of the shot allowed him to parry it wide, and that was key as well. Leave it in front of your goal, you're in trouble.
He was cutting in from the left-hand side, and coming forward now again with Roberts. He was upended, tries to win the ball whilst he's on the ground, succeeds, but there was a foul in there on Sharda, and the referee will give a free kick to Brentford. But 19 minutes played, still 0-0. And when they played Sheffield Wednesday in the League Cup 4th round earlier in the season, went to penalties. Of course, we do have the possibility of penalties today, but unlike the League Cup, we would have to have 30 minutes of extra time, because the replays have now been abolished in this competition as Damsgaard races forward, head bobbing, strong run as well, left corner of the area, out to Henry, early ball in, and behind from Matthew Sorinola for a corner kick to Brentford.
Yeah, the combinations out wide, when they go forward fast and early, it's only 1 or 2 passes from Brentford, because they've got those extra numbers out there just against the one wing back. They really do explode, and now it's another corner from this far side,
which Jensen again is going to take, and they're wise on this occasion for the short one, because I noticed that Ballymumba, the left wing back, has just cut out that option and not to use Damsgaard, as in it comes now. But it was a good header out by Galloway under pressure, comes back to Jensen, plays it in a lot deeper, and it will not be kept in play by Yarmouk, and the Plymouth cheers will tell you that that bouncing ball away towards our right hand side has gone out of play for a goal kick, so it remains 0-0, and a 7th goal of the day has been scored at Leicester. Charlie Slater.
It's a 5th though for Leicester. Leicester 5, QPR 2. James Justin with his 2nd of the afternoon. Fast break, left to right. Daka gave it to Justin. Justin fired it low and hard into the far corner. Leicester 5, QPR 2.
Will stay in the East Midlands. Lee Blakeman.
Forest have gone close. Forest 0, Luton 0. Ball fell for Ryan Yates, 25 yards out. Great shot, crashed against the crossbar. Forest 0, Luton 0.
Roberts tries to make his way through the centre circle, did well to hold on to the ball, helped out by Adam Randall, and then Plymouth played out towards Sorinola on the right hand side. His forward ball to Beidou, interception though from Henry, and he plays it back to Vandenberg, and Brentford midway through their own half are back in possession. To Exeter, Oxford United, Paul Scott.
22 minutes on the clock. It's Exeter 1, Oxford 1. Across from the left from Vincent Harper, met by the first time volley of Dimitri Mitchell. 1-1.
The League One side back level in Devon. Jensen out to Henry. We're approaching the midway point of the first half, still yet to get a goal. That winter sun is starting to fade. Damsgaard cuts into the penalty area, dropping just in front and away of Sharda, and it will go out of play for a goal kick. Rob Green.
Yeah, Damsgaard's a cut above everyone else on the pitch at the minute. You see him function, the space that he's creating for himself, the time that he's giving himself, and then the quality on the ball. That was a fantastic angled cross in there, just didn't meet its target, but he's having a yard more space than everyone else.
Incidentally, that game in League Two, where play was suspended after 4 minutes because of the fog, the referee will reassess the visibility at the county ground at 3:30. We'll keep you up to date. But there's no stopping Walsall. Club record 8 successive wins and 13 points clear of Crewe, the opposition for Swindon, at the county ground today. Damsgaard wants to take a quick throw. He was blocked by doing so by Sorinola, and the referee picks up that ball, doesn't take any action against Sorinola, and Damsgaard is the one who now complains, saying he wasn't retreating.
Yeah, well, the referee's just trying to take the sting out of the situation, because he gave a throw in previously one way, his assistant gave it the other way. The Plymouth players are unhappy about that. It's all bubbling up a little bit.
Still goalless, Ruerslev near side, front of the main stand. Maghoma back to Vandenberg. This is where Jensen makes himself available, as Damsgaard was the one who tried to find the space. Henry had actually gone ahead of him on that far side, the left, but it was over the head of Damsgaard, and it will go out of play for a Plymouth throw, much to the amusement of the 2,457 travelling support. They'll cover some miles, won't they, year in, year out.
I only ever went there once in my career, that was enough. Norwich to Plymouth, that was an afternoon to forget in the journey itself.
Can you remember the scoreline?
It was fairly forgettable, I think.
That's my half-time homework. I'll find it. Here is Jensen over the top. Henry's on that occasion was almost playing as a left winger. He was that high, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he's got the licence, and Damsgaard's got freedom on that left-hand side. It's because they've only got the one wing-back to play against, really. And Jensen dropping in at that left centre-back role almost is giving them the time, giving them the comfort that they've got the time and space to go forwards. On the flip side, Plymouth under real pressure when they get the ball. They're looking to play out. They're playing within their own half all the time. They just don't have that long ball out, which is a threat that they can use.
Yeah, Badu's dropping further and further back. Haven't really mentioned Morgan Whittaker as yet, have we? Who's extremely talented. Just can't seem to get him on the ball either. Callum Wright did have that opportunity as Badu tries to put pressure on Vandenberg, but he goes back to his goalkeeper, Valdemarson. Let's go back to Stamford Bridge and John Southall.
Chelsea 0, Morecambe 0, 25 minutes play. Chance for Mark Guillou on the right of the penalty area. Shot into the side netting, but the hero at the moment, Harry Burgoyne, the Morecambe keeper, with that penalty save. Chelsea 0, Morecambe 0.
And it's also 0-0 in this part of West London as well. Whereas certainly Connor Hazard, the Plymouth goalkeeper, who they signed from Celtic in 2023, has been tested on a couple of occasions from Carvalho as the ball is scooped forward. Carvalho is onto it, cushion control off the top of his right boot, gets fouled, and Brentford get a free kick. Another goal at Bournemouth, Aaron Paul.
Equaliser for the home side, Bournemouth 1, West Bromwich Albion 1. Ball in from the right hand side, Dango Ouattara nudged it on towards goal. It's a really good save from Joe Wildsmith in the West Bromwich Albion goal, but Justin Kluivert was there at the back post to tap home. But Ian, more concerning for Anthony Arola, he's starting to hold his groin and he looks to be in a bit of discomfort. Bournemouth 1, West Brom 1.
It's the last thing that Premier League managers want with such a busy period of the season. Plymouth are just lining up their defensive numbers inside the penalty area. They've actually only got one in a wall, which is Mumba standing on his own outside the box on the left-hand side. Brentford are attacking this near side there right. Jensen is going to take it, but every other green shirt is back inside the penalty area. The sun has almost gone and disappeared out of the eye line now of the goalkeeper Connor Hazard. He'll be relieved about that. Jensen waits to take the free kick, right-footed, didn't beat the first man, headed away by Sorinola at the near post, comes back to Henry, and Henry, running back, plays it all the way back to Valdemarson, and Plymouth will be relieved that they managed to come away from that set piece unscathed.
Yeah, it was a needless free kick to give away in the corner, but as the game goes on, 26 minutes in, you get the feeling, other than Damsgaard on the left-hand side, when he comes alive with the ball, Brentford haven't really hit the straps yet. They're showing signs of it, threats of one or two quick passes when they link up and get it right. Plymouth looking comfortable, feeling more and more confident as the game goes in. They just got to get on the ball and get playing themselves a bit, because at the moment it's a little bit too easy for Brentford to win the ball back.
Yep, but the only pleasing thing for Kevin Nanskeville, who is in his 5th spell as a caretaker manager at Plymouth Argyle. He had a turn in 2013, another one 6 years later, and twice last season. But since he replaced Wayne Rooney, who was sacked on New Year's Eve, he has at least got 2 draws in those 2 games. But Miran Mušlić, the Austrian who was named last night as the replacement for Rooney, watches on from the stands. But at the minute, it is backs to the wall for Plymouth Argyle as they try to keep the Premier League side out. 0-0 as we are approaching the half hour here on BBC Radio 5 Live. This is Maghoma. Vandenberg, the only Brentford player who is inside his own half. Damsgaard now on this near side, the right, down the line towards Sharda. Ruerslev is central. Ruerslev now with a drag back towards Sharda, couldn't take it in his stride, and there Abel was to deal with it with the Plymouth defence, and here is Mumba turning, almost slipping, and as a result of that slip puts the ball out of play for a throw.
Yeah, they won the ball back well, and it's 4 Brentford players around him. They're just swamped, surrounded in their own half at times.
Yarmouk knocks it back. This is Kim. Maghoma on the ball, 30 yards out from goal. Plymouth supporters making the noise. Maghoma, ball bobbles a little bit for him, down to his knees, loses the ball. Sorinola releases it. Whittaker now can come forward, running into the midfield and trying to get away from those red and white striped shirts. Helped out by Callum Wright. Ball back towards Mumba, challenged on the edge of the area. by Damsgaard. Sharda inside the penalty box. 2. Damsgaard picked up at his near post by Connor Hazard, the goalkeeper.
It may not be brilliant play by Brentford on the ball. It may not work every time, but what they have got, and they've got the press down to a T. And Plymouth are working so hard when they win the ball just to give themselves a yard of space. They're not giving them a breath on the ball at the moment.
The voice of Rob Green on BBC Radio 5 Live. Remember, Chelsea against Morecambe. Chelsea missing a penalty against the League Two strugglers, and Plymouth here coming forward. 11 games without a win as Whittaker passes the ball out to Sorinola. Beidou makes a run out towards that right-hand side of the penalty area. Whittaker. Now all of a sudden you've got the Olays as they're inside the Brentford half, and they've got an opportunity maybe to try and test Valdemarson in the goal. Wright wanted the ball down the left-hand side. That was blocked by Mumba off the legs of Ruerslev. Galloway. They're enjoying this, the travelling support. Sustained spell of passing.
Well, they've got it right. They look okay. It's just how many times can you do that in a half where you've been in sustaining a lot of pressure? You need to do it more and more if you can.
Ball over the top to Sharda. Plegathuelo cut that out very, very well. He was alert, he was alive to the danger. But that's the thing, isn't it? You know, when you're playing against higher quality opposition, you've got to be on your mettle all the time.
Well, they lose the ball and they're vulnerable at times to Plymouth. We've seen over the course of the season the amount of goals they've conceded from losing the ball themselves, and that's where Brentford come to life. But you've got to have the confidence to play, because if you just sit there like sitting ducks for 90 minutes against a team in the Premier League, you're going to get brought down after 90 minutes.
Henry runs forward. He won't play the full 90 today, but he will get a valuable run out. Leaves it for Carvalho. Diagonal ball, just nudged away and taken out of the path of Damsgaard. Goes behind for a corner kick. By the way, no wonder you couldn't remember it. I found it. It was a 1-1 draw at Home Park, 14th of January 2006. Tony Pulis was the Plymouth manager. Simon Charlton's own goal gave Plymouth the lead. Darren Huckabee equalised early in the second half, and your manager was Nigel Worthington at the time.
Yeah, I remember walking in off the pitch and a number of players saying, that's not good enough, we're never coming back here again.
0-0 here in the FA Cup. Jensen to take the corner kick, right-hand side. Kneed away by Roberts from the midfield, and the Plymouth will get a free kick. I think Nanskaville will be quite encouraged by this performance so far.
Yeah, he's lived every moment. He's been stood up in the technical area, shouting instructions to his teammates. He's in a lot of conversation with Mumba, the left wing back, who's about 2 yards away from him right now, and he's putting all the instructions out, and he's got them organised. He knows what they want to do. He knows that he's been giving them instruction, and they understand that instruction, and at times when it's been going so wrong for so long, that's about pretty much as you can do.
Well, this, remember, is a team that has conceded 53 goals in the Championship. That is the most of any in league football of the top 4 divisions in England. But there are 13 minutes to go to half-time, and it is still 0-0 as Brentford go back to Valdemarson. And there's been another goal at Bournemouth, Aaron Paul.
10 to the break. Bournemouth ahead now. Bournemouth 2, West Bromwich Albion 1. Gorgeous bit of work by Justin Kluivert to feed Dango Atarin down the left-hand side. Cool finish into the back of the net. Bournemouth 2, West Brom 1.
Bournemouth looking to go 9 unbeaten. Vandenberg will run forward for Brentford. Red and white striped shirts. The sun now is completely off the playing surface as Henry is away on that left-hand side. Darts his way towards the byline. The cutback though was cut out, and this now is Randall who'll bring the ball clear. Henry is back at him. Thomas Frank has been saying he's been quite aggressive in training, and he was certainly keen to stop the run of Adam Randall there in the midfield.
Yeah, and they needed it. And a little break on there, Plymouth. It's one of the few occasions they've got through the initial press and broken away, but again down that left-hand side, Rico Henry's really got the licence to go and went there, just couldn't find that final ball, the cross into the box.
Randall, who has been with the club since 2018 and an academy product. Here he is on the ball as well. Nice couple of touches, one off the right knee. And out towards Whittaker. Did well at close control. Sorinola with a cross. That was blocked by Henry. Goes out of play for a throw. Level with the penalty area as Plymouth in their green shirts and white shorts play from right to left on this FA Cup Saturday afternoon. Manchester City Salford will be live on BBC One at 5:45. Leeds United Harrogate will be live on BBC Radio 5 Live. Paul Robinson joining John Murray in the commentary box, so that will be our next live commentary for you as Plymouth play out from the back, and that was almost selling Victor Palsson, the Icelandic international, short, but he clattered the ball away. Brentford though have it now with Damsgaard running forward out towards Carvalho on the left hand side. Pleguezuelo goes with him and marshals the ball safely as he drops to his knees for a goal kick. Plymouth still defending stoutly.
Yeah, did well to recover there because it was poor really. Yes, they're trying to play out from the back, but there was no real conviction in it, and Brentford sense that. Damsgaard getting on the ball, he's been the standout player of the first half so far, and it was a poor through ball from him. Just the warning there for Plymouth that, yeah, be confident on the ball, but do it quick, do it sharp.
When I was doing my notes for this game, Brentford never have beaten Plymouth in the FA Cup. This is the 7th time that they've met in the competition. The first was in 1903 in the intermediate round where Plymouth won 4-1 in a replay, but Plymouth have triumphed all 6, 1903, 1928, 1935, 1969, 1973 and 1999. It would be some upset if they could knock out Brentford as they battle away, still holding Brentford 0-0 with under 10 minutes remaining, and Mumba has dispossessed Yarmouk. And now this is Roberts with a ball up towards Beidou. Kim though challenges him, and the South Korean defender gets the ball back for Brentford. Ruisleft though crowded out by those green shirts, and Plymouth are back in possession as the ball is chipped into the midfield. Whittaker lays the ball back. Pleguezuelo plays it out towards that far side, and they've navigated that tricky area quite well, have the Championship team, as we'll hear now from Chris Coles at Norwich City.
No sign of an upset here. The Premier League side in front. Norwich 0, Brighton 1. Joel Veltman's careful ball into the box. Jorginho Rutta's header into the net. Norwich 0, Brighton 1.
Ball played forward on the left. Right, flag stays down. Right, up against Ruisleft, wins a corner. Listen to that Devon roar from that corner of the GTEC Community Stadium.
And the belief is growing for Plymouth. They've started to show a bit more confidence on the ball. There's Whittaker then, who won the foul and just went, to hell with it, I'm going to swing a crossfield ball out to Mumba, who controlled it really well and just made a dart down the left. And it's things like that, just doing something a bit different, something that's going to turn the heads, move the bodies of Brentford, that make a difference.
So the corner is on this near side, the left. Plymouth playing from right to left. Sorinola is going to take it. This should be an in-swinger. In it comes now. Flicked on, but flicked well over by Victor Palsson. 47 caps that he has made for his country. He's been on the books of Liverpool, former Hibs defender, but he's also played in Denmark, Holland, Sweden, Switzerland, Germany and the United States. It's fair to say he's well travelled.
That's a lot of languages to learn.
33 years of age. His experience could be key. Elsewhere though in the FA Cup, of the 9 ties that are being played at 3 o'clock, Leicester, well that's actually a 2 o'clock kickoff. Leicester still lead QPR 5-2, but elsewhere Bournemouth 2, West Brom 1. 0-0 here. Chelsea Morecambe is 0-0. Chelsea missing a penalty. Exeter 1, Oxford United 1 as Damsgaard attacks on that far side, the left. Back to towards Jensen. Forest 0, Luton 0. Reading 0, Burnley 0, Sunderland 0, Stoke City 1. And Brighton still lead at Norwich by a goal to 0. We've got 7 minutes to go to half-time. Damsgaard can't keep the ball in play. But the longer it goes on, the greater the belief.
Yep, and you're looking at Plymouth, who came out onto the pitch. They weren't 100% sure in how they were going to play, how Brentford were going to set up against them, and took the time to get into the game. But now Brentford feeling, well, okay, there's a lot to unpick here and we're not quite answering it yet.
Swindon Crew is going to restart at 4 o'clock after it was suspended due to fog, so that will restart at 4 in that solitary game in League 2 at 3 o'clock. BBC Radio 5 Live, BBC Sounds and the World Service. It remains Brentford 0, Plymouth Argyle 0. But a goal at Nottingham Forest. Lee Blakeman.
It's gone to Forest and it has been coming. Forest 1, Luton 0. Good ball in from the left, met by the head of captain Ryan Yates. Good header, bottom corner. Forest 1, Luton 0.
Paul Trollope in caretaker charge after Rob Edwards was sacked. They've lost their last 10 away from home of Luton Town. Brentford are attacking. It is with Rico Henry, whose cross is blocked by Sorinola, did well, goes behind for a corner. Before that corner, a goal at Stamford Bridge. John Southall.
Chelsea 1, Morecambe 0. Tosin Adarabioyo 20 yards out, took a big deflection and in it went. Harsh on Morecambe. Chelsea 1, Morecambe 0.
We haven't got time to get another goal update from Exeter, but we will be there very, very soon, because Brentford, in front of that boisterous travelling support from Plymouth, wait to take this corner kick on that far side, the left. And once again, every green shirt is back in and around the penalty area. Vandenberg calling for reinforcements around the penalty spot. There are 4 Brentford players now who are trying to occupy as many green shirts as they possibly can. Now they break, in it comes, and cleared by Pleguezuelo. Out towards Damsgaard. Jensen still remains, waiting, plays it in short. Maghoma outside the penalty area, he goes square. Carvalho tries to chip the ball forward. Whittaker will get the ball away, so we'll go to Exeter and Paul Scott. There's been another goal.
Yes, Exeter 2, Oxford 1. The League One side have turned this around. Good work by Caleb Watts down the right hand side. His cross wasn't dealt with and it fell for Dimitri Mitchell, who lashed home his second of the match. Exeter 2, Oxford 1.
Oxford United, who actually travelled to Plymouth on Tuesday night, unbeaten in 4 in the Championship since Gary Rowett took charge. Rob.
Yeah, Plymouth 5 minutes to go before half time will be happy. They'll be happy with how they've gone. They know the game's got to end today. You're just thinking that, as well as they've done defensively, they've asked a couple of questions going forward. They've got to ask more in the second half, because looking at the bench of Brentford, the strength of power that they can bring on in the second half is going to be a real threat.
Mumba did well to hook the ball away from the attentions of Ruerslev. Plymouth clear it only as far as Kim, midway through the Plymouth half. This is Maghoma coming forward. Little touch there by Sharda, but Mumba was quick and nippy to intervene, and then Roberts helped him clear his lines. Again only as far as Kim, goes down the touchline near side the right. Ruerslev towards Sharda, making the run from in to out. Ruerslev joins the attack down by the byline, right side of the penalty area. Poor ball in from Sharda, he knows it. He turned away and looked still at the clear blue skies in disgust at himself, as Plymouth were able to clear the ball away. The 4th round draw, incidentally, will be after Arsenal-Manchester United tomorrow on BBC television, and Brentford or Plymouth will be ball 21. Green Army is the loud chant from the end away towards our right hand side. We've got 3 minutes to go to half time. It remains 0-0 here on 5 Live and the World Service, but Brentford are still dominating in terms of possession. Damsgaard on that far side. Damsgaard runs left side of the penalty area, held up by Julio Pleguezuelo. Damsgaard goes to ground, and they thought they were going to get a free kick, but the referee instead says it will be a Plymouth throw, as another goal at Bournemouth. Aaron Paul.
It's a third for Bournemouth and a second for Dango Ouattara. Really good move on the counter-attack. David Brooks charging down the middle of the pitch. He had options left and right, went right for Ouattara, who just slotted past the goalkeeper. Bournemouth 3, West Bromwich Albion 1.
So just looking down the ties that are being played at 3 o'clock at the moment, this game here and the Reading-Burnley game are the only games that are goalless in the FA Cup 3rd round, as Ruerslev back to Carvalho. Been a while since they actually tested Conor Hazard in goal seriously, the Premier League side. The last effort was on 15 minutes, so they've gone nearly half an hour, have Plymouth, by restricting Premier League opposition to nothing.
Magoma's just played the ball straight off for a goal kick. Ruerslev wasn't making the run, and that's the sort of misunderstanding that's been there since the kickoff. It's not been as sharp and as crisp as you want. Carvalho just on the ball moments before that almost stopped and shrugged at everyone and went, well, what do I do? Where are you going? There's no movement. And so Thomas Frank's got some pondering to do just at half-time.
Well, you might not be able to remember your visit to Home Park too much. but I wonder if you can remember your best run in the FA Cup during your career.
I can remember just about avoiding a home defeat against Dagenham and Redbridge when I played for Norwich, and that was the closest I got to a shock. And I think as your career goes on, you realise that the opportunities to walk out at Wembley, which I did in the playoff finals and for England, which was really fortunate, but an actual cup final was something I really did rue not to play in.
Yeah, my notes said that quarter-finals in 2011 with West Ham was your best run in the competition.
Saved the penalty in that one, we still lost.
Your memory's not that bad, is it?
No, I can remember us losing.
And the way early birthday wishes for turning 45 later this month as well.
I forgot about that, thank you.
Here is Kim. Good to have Rob Green with us on BBC Radio 5 Live. As Jensen, you're just catching me up then. As Jensen plays the ball out towards Damsgaard. Damsgaard on the left touchline running forward. Henry tries to keep it alive, pokes the ball back to Jensen, still on that far side of the field. Damsgaard dancing his way down the touchline, comes in field. It's a dropping ball that Ruerslev does well to keep alive. And actually, Brendan Galloway, the former Everton defender, hammered it clear. Looked like it was going to drop out of play, but Ruerslev was watchful.
Yeah, misjudgment from Plymouth as well. The Plymouth defenders, they thought it was going out. Ruerslev did well, and it was just a moment's pause in the stadium waiting to see where that would drop.
Waiting to see how much stoppage time there will be, as Brentford are still attacking just outside the area. But by my watch, the 45 minutes are up. The additional 60 seconds we now enter, as Plymouth can hopefully get the ball clear from their point of view through Whittaker. Another goal at Carrow Road. Chris Coles.
Brighton have a second and are in full control of this cup tie. Jorginho Ruta also has a second. Right foot shot just inside the box, deflected on its way in to the roof of the net. Norwich 0, Brighton 2.
Plymouth are putting in a real shift. There was just a shot from Yarmouk that was blocked, and it was almost celebrated as if they'd got a goal by Plymouth.
Victor Paulson alongside him. He's a World Cup winner now by the reaction, wasn't it? It was incredible.
So Jensen uses a blue towel to wipe a lot of the dew off the ball to get a better grip, and then just tosses it short to Damsgaard. Back to his fellow Dane, plays it towards Maghoma, first time ball in, headed out by Plegathwello, volleyed back in by Rico Henry. That would have been a dream return after an absence of 483 days. But the supporters making all the noise at the half-time whistle are those that have travelled from Devon, because they have seen their side putting a battling display. And to the chants of Argyle, their players will leave the field knowing that they've kept Brentford out 0-0. Rob Green.
Yeah, the real belief in the Plymouth fans, in the away fan section, and you look and it's probably give themselves a 10% chance at the start of the game, and they're saying now, well, why not? Well, why not give it a go? Thomas Frank's going to say, well, I'll tell you what, if it carries on much longer like this, I might need to turn to the bench, might need to turn to the big hitters to sort this one out.
Talking of big hitters, we'll be crossing to Mark Chapman, who's made his way from the studio to the Etihad for half-time, because he'll be presenting coverage of Manchester City Salford a little later on BBC One. But half-time here, and remember, it's got to be settled on the day, half-time in West London. Brentford 0, Plymouth Argyle 0.
Bet you're pleased with yourself with that link, aren't you?
Well, you told me to say it.
Anyhow, let's get rid of him. Rob, I'll just talk to you. If Plymouth are looking at the bigger picture here, which obviously their fans are, and with their new man in the stands and getting ready to come in, bearing in mind what they've done most of the time away from home this season, this is positive.
It's been a brutal season for them away from home, but this, it's been a battling performance. They've got a shape, they've got the 3 and sometimes 5 at the back, and they've worked problems out during the game as well. They've just had a little shuffle. They realise that Brentford aren't really playing with an out-and-out centre-forward, so one of the 3 centre-halves is going, I'll tell you what, I can commit a bit wider at times, because that's where the threat is, and someone's going to cover in for me. We've got that confidence in each other, and you're looking at the results away from home. That's the confidence that has been so brittle so far this season. So another tick for them, another tick in this away performances, which they desperately needed.
Back for the second half at the G-Tech Community Stadium. All square there between Premier League and Championship. Premier League lead, Championship at the City Ground. Lee Blakeman.
Forest 1, Luton 0. Ryan Yates' header 5 minutes before half-time is what separates the two teams. Yates had gone close just before that, hitting the bar with a perler from 25 yards. Jota Silva has had chances too. Just the one chance for Luton, Isaiah Jones on his debut, beating 4 before being denied by Forest keeper Carlos Miguel. Half-time, Forest 1, Luton 0.
And Premier League Championship at the Vitality as well, although they've had to work hard for this, Aaron Paul.
Yeah, they really have. Bournemouth 3, Albion 1. But, Mark, no strikers, no problem for Anthony Iraola. His side started really slowly, but have finished well on top in this tie. Albion took the lead through Caleb Taylor after Grady Diangana hit the crossbar, but then Bournemouth replied. Dango Ouattara forcing a good save from Joe Wildsmith, with Justin Kluivert tapping into the roof of the net at the back post of the leveller. Kluivert then turned provider, slotting Ouattara through on the left, with the Burkina Faso winger slotting into the bottom corner. The third came on the counter. David Brooks tearing down the middle of the pitch. Bournemouth swarming the Albion defence. He had so many options, but he fed Ouattara in on the right to make it 3, and that's where we are at the break. It's Bournemouth 3, West Brom 1.
We were expecting goals at Stamford Bridge this afternoon, but we've had just the one, John Southall.
We have. Chelsea 1, Morecambe 0, and up to the 40th minute mark, Morecambe had frustrated Chelsea. Harry Burgoyne brilliantly saved Christopher Nkunku's penalty, smuggled behind the rebound, also denied João Felix. He's been really impressive, the Morecambe keeper. Then the goal, touch of fortune, toss in Adebayo, allowed space 20 yards out. His shot took a big deflection, keeper was wrong-footed, and in it went. One chance for Morecambe early on. Ben Tollett's shot was fumbled by Jorgensen and claimed at the second attempt. But Morecambe still in this. Chelsea 1, Morecambe 0.
Plenty of goals at the King Power as they approach full-time. Charlie Slater.
Just the 8 of them. We've got about 30 seconds or so of the 4 additional minutes remaining. It's Leicester 6, QPR 2. The latest, a screamer from Wout Faes, centre half, runs onto it 25 yards out, and with his right foot picks out the far corner of the net. It's a beauty. It wraps up a wonderful afternoon for Ruud van Nistelrooy and Leicester City. He needed this. They'd lost 5 in a row in the Premier League. He went strong with his team. 2 goals for James Justin, 1 for Mavididi, 1 for Buonanotte, Jamie Vardy, and then that one from Faes cancelled out 2 first half QPR goals from Varane and Coley. It's all meant that he can rest a few of his first team players against a huge game here against Crystal Palace on Wednesday in the Premier League. There's the full-time whistle. Leicester City 5, QPR 2.
6.
Excuse me. I was never good at counting. Do you know?
We'll put it down to the fog, shall we?
Thank you. You're a good friend. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Charlie. Leicester 6, QPR 2. A lot of people pre-match thought that the game at Carrow Road might produce a shock. Not the case, Chris Coles.
Not the case. A scoreline reflecting the dominance Brighton have enjoyed, leading Norwich by 2-0. All the ball, decent chances created. In fact, George Long in the Norwich goal, limiting the damage. He has been beaten twice, both times by Jorginho Ruta, a header from a Veltman cross, and just before half-time, his shot from an angle deflected on its way in. Norwich's brightest moment saw them hit the post at 0-0. A Mankwa foursome from the edge of the box, bending effort, flush off the post, but their attacking threat has been fleeting at best. It's been a good half for the Premier League side. Norwich 0, Brighton 2.
Will this take long, Becky Ives?
Oh, I feel like this has got extra time and pens written all over it, but Burnley, they have been on top of the first half, but with nothing to show for it. Lara Foster had the best chance, shot from close range, which Reading keeper David Button got both hands to keep out. Other efforts from Luca Koleosho, Joe Burris and Tommy McDermott, they've all gone high, wide, left, right, anywhere but the goal. Reading, they've had a couple of chances from set pieces, but to be honest, they haven't kept the ball for any real significant period of time to be able to create it. But I don't know, this just doesn't feel like Burnley's day, and Reading are hanging on. So at half-time, Reading 0, Burnley 0.
The only surprise of the day so far looks like it's coming at Exeter. Paul Scott.
Yes, because the League One side Exeter lead the Championship side Oxford by 2-1 at half-time. Exeter on course to reach the 4th round for potentially the first time since 1981. It was actually the Championship side who made the brighter of the starts here, taking the lead after a swift counter-attack. Matt Phillips with the finish. But 2 goals from Dimitri Mitchell have put the League One side ahead at the break. Exeter 2, Oxford 1.
Pre-match, Andy Sixsmith told us that his dad, a Sunderland fan, thought it might be their year. And?
It's not the first time my dad's ever been wrong, chappers, I'll tell you that for free. Sunderland 0, Stoke 1. Only goal of a flat first half coming early on. Tom Cannon smashing home a penalty after Luke O'Nien chopped down Lewis Kumas in the area. Sunderland have made 5 changes. They got better as the first half progressed, I'll be honest. Sheesh and Luke O'Nien himself coming close, with Chris Rigg increasingly influential. But let's talk FA Cup magic, chappers. Here's some for you. Sunderland only opened 2 stands at the Stadium of Light, and there's only 13,000 here. Ouch. 0-1.
Thank you very much. Rotherham 3, Bolton 1 in the only game in League 1 this afternoon. Everything else postponed because of the weather. Walsall, the League 2 leaders, thrashed Tranmere, who were down to 10 in that game, by 5-1. The only other game to take place is Swindon against Crewe. Now, that was halted because of fog at the county ground. They are expecting that to get underway at 4 o'clock. They're only a few minutes into that game, and it is goalless so far. In Scotland, a few games in the National League, aren't that many. Boston 1, Ebbsfleet 1, and Yeovil 1, Woking 0. In the Scottish Premiership earlier, Celtic extended their lead at the top of the table to 18 points with a 4-1 win at Ross County. Half-time in the other 2 games in the Scottish Premiership. Hibs, who got that 3-3 draw with Rangers a few days ago, lead again at half-time. They lead Motherwell by 2-0. It's goalless between St Mirren and Dundee United. In the Championship, the leaders Falkirk being held at home by Queen's Park. That is goalless. In League 1 at half-time, Alloa 0, Queen of the South 1. The only other game that will take place in League 1 today, Kelsey Hearts against Stenhousemuir, and Stenhousemuir will go top of the table if they win that game. In League 2, leaders East Fife 0, Clyde 0, Edinburgh City 0, Peterhead 1, and Edinburgh City's task getting much harder just 3 minutes before half-time when they lost a player for 2 yellow cards. So the whole of the second half, they'll play with 10 and they're a goal down. And in the other game in League 2, it is Forfar 0, Elgin 0. Champions Cup is back in rugby union this weekend. Sale wallop this lunchtime, 40 points to 0 away to Stormers as they approach half-time in the games that kicked off at 3:15. Exeter 5, Bordeaux 21, and Sharks 3, Toulouse 7. Later on at 5:30, we've got Munster Saracens and Stade Francais against Northampton. Leicester play at 8 o'clock at home to Ulster. You're up to date with all the sport that's taking place this afternoon. FA Cup 3rd round, Saturday, 3 minutes to 4, and Dan Morsley has the news.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
More than 140,000 people have been forced to leave the Los Angeles area as the wildfires continue to rage there. At least 11 people have died and an estimated 12,000 buildings have been destroyed. Forecasters say the return of strong winds this weekend could whip up flames further. Our correspondent Peter Bowes is in the north of Hollywood.
The 2 big fires at Pacific Palisades especially is still spreading, and it's moving towards densely populated areas. Brentwood, again to the west of Los Angeles. Also the San Fernando Valley, which is a sprawling area to the north of Hollywood. Extraordinary situation where you have all of these fires right across this sprawling city, and that's a big part of the problem in terms of resources being stretched.
The search for the 2 sisters reported missing in Aberdeen has been extended to the coast at New Harbour. Eliza and Henrietta Hutsey were last seen walking by the River Dee in the early hours of Tuesday morning. A migrant has died trying to cross the English Channel. Helicopters and boats were used to rescue more than 30 people from a boat which got into difficulty on its way from France to the UK last night. The father of Molly Russell, the teenager who took her own life after seeing harmful content online, has appealed to the Prime Minister to tighten rules that protect children. In a letter to Sir Keir Starmer, Ian Russell said more young people had lost their lives because of dither and delay. He told the BBC the UK was going backwards on internet safety.
I'm sure Keir as a father protects his children from online dangers as much as any individual can. But as a Prime Minister, he needs to really back online safety and move forward so that the UK is the safest place in the world to be online, and children, when they're there in the future, don't face the dangers they're facing today.
Well, the government said it was committed to ensuring online safety for children and urged social media platforms to take robust action. And one of 4 lynx found on the loose in the Highlands has died. The wildcats, which are thought to have been released illegally, were captured after being spotted in the Cairngorms National Park.
The Traitors is back, and so is that mysterious cloaked figure with the familiar fringe.
Yeah? It's me.
And when you've watched Claudia in the Castle, join me, Ed Gamble, for the official Visualised Companion podcast.
And remember, I'll be listening.
Okay.
No, seriously, I love it.
What a faithful. We'll unpack betrayals and spill scandalous secrets with celeb guests, traitors legends, and murdered and banished players. The Traitors Uncloaked. Watch on iPlayer, listen for more on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sports
with Mark Chapman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
FA Cup third round weekend across the BBC to come later on. Leeds against Harrogate here on 5 Live. Manchester City against Salford City on BBC One. Earlier, Liverpool beat Accrington Stanley 4-0 at Anfield. Federico Chiesa scored his first goal for Liverpool, and the 16-year-old Rio Ngumoha made his debut for the club. Here's Arne Slot.
I think he showed the fans today what we've seen when he's with us, when he's training with us. So he's a player that is very good in the 1v1 situations. He can change directions really fast. And that's what we saw a few times today as well. And it's always nice for him if you can show this in the first time that you play. And having a win, and for him, I think making somewhere around 70 minutes it's definitely a special day for him, but definitely also for the youth academy.
And a special day for Federico Chiesa, who's had to be patient, but he gets that first Liverpool goal, and you could see it meant a lot to him at the Kop end.
Yeah, definitely. Making a debut is special. Making your first goal for this club is I think a special moment for everyone as well. And he's had a hard time in the first half of the season. He's been not always training with us because of his match fitness, and now he's getting fitter and fitter, and today was a good first step. Although don't get carried away because we play a League 2 team, which I like though the way they played, but it's a good first step for him, good next step for him in what we want to see from him.
And here are the thoughts of Slot's counterpart, the Accrington boss, John Doolan.
I enjoyed the opening 20 minutes. I know Liverpool had a bit of the ball, but we had a plan just to sort of sit in and try and nick the ball off them and create something, or hit them down the sides if you like. And we wish we had a little bit of luck in the first 20 minutes or so, or half an hour. But as I said, the world class players, top of the Premiership, top of Europe, the Champions League. So to concede from a free kick, if you like, and then for them to counter the way they do, and they've done it against better sides, haven't they? World class teams. So you've just got to hold your hand up and sort of take your punishment. But then you want a response, and I thought the response was okay till right on the half time, and then you've got a world class player like Trent stepping up and does what he does and puts one on the top corner. So we lick our wounds and we go again.
So Liverpool winning at Anfield, Wolves, Blackburn, Birmingham and Leicester all winning in the early games as well, and through to the fourth round draw tomorrow evening. Back to Brentford, goalless against Plymouth. Rob Green and Ian Dennis.
Henry fires over the cross from the left-hand side. They went for really on the front foot right from the restart, because that was a matter of seconds before they quickly whipped it out towards Henry, as neither side has made a change. Thank you, Mark. Back underway then here, 0-0. Valdemarsson is in goal. You've got Rueslef, Vandenberg, Kim Ji-soo and Henry. The back four, a midfield of Jensen, Paris Maghoma, Yarmouk, Damsgaard, Carvalho and Schade. Red and white striped shirts, black shorts, playing in this second half from right to left as we look against the Plymouth side in their green tops and white shorts. They have Hazard in goal. A back three of Pleguezuelo, Poulsen and Galloway. Sorinola and Mumba are the wing backs. Roberts, Randall, Whittaker right, and Beidou as the lone striker. It was a good defensive display from Plymouth Argyle, but once again Henry's been given the ball and a chance to run at Sorinola on this near side. But it's been a positive 60 seconds as Maghoma's cross is headed away under pressure from Poulsen, headed back by Kim. And another good header out from defence by Plymouth, who've been put firmly on the back foot. Rob Green.
Yeah, sharper from Brentford and quicker on the ball, and there must have been a chat at half-time to say, come on, let's liven it up, let's get on the front foot, let's have a bit of urgency, because I think that's what was lacking in the first half. Yeah, they had a lot of the possession, yet at times it was slow, it was a little bit predictable, and players looking rather than just doing. Now looking to be more proactive.
Former England international goalkeeper Rob Green with us here at the G-Tech Community Stadium. Don't forget, tomorrow, by the way, at 7 o'clock and each morning on Sports Extra, tennis breakfast will be available as the Australian Open coverage begins on day 1. This is day 3 of FA Cup third round coverage, and there's been another goal at Bournemouth for Aaron Paul.
Bournemouth 4, West Bromwich Albion 1. Antoine Semenyo, who's been on the pitch a matter of minutes, and he has bagged the 4th for the Cherries, played in down the right by David Brooks, and he just smashed the ball into the corner of the net. Bournemouth 4, West Brom 1.
I think it's fair to say that they'll be going through to round 4. The header from Sorinola presents an opportunity for Henry. Infield towards Damsgaard. Damsgaard takes it into the box, and that won't go out of play. I think it was Pleguezuelo who just tried to play it off the legs of Damsgaard. Plymouth in their green shirts, they'll work it out of defence. Whittaker gets away then from the challenge of Jensen, runs over the halfway line. 2 green shirts ahead of him, nicks it inside to the centre circle. Roberts helps it out towards Mumba, urged on by the travelling support. This is right, left-hand side of the area, crosses! Spilt by the goalkeeper and bounced off the legs of a defender in front of him and then back into the arms, the grateful arms of the Icelandic keeper for Brentford. 0-0.
Now we've got a cup tie on our hands. It's all of a sudden come alive and it's end-to-end.
It is end-to-end. Brentford now gone long. Sharda, the ball bobbles for him inside the penalty area, keeps the ball in play, held up by 2 green shirts over on that far side. Still a number of late arrivals making their way back in towards the main stand as they slowly file their way back in as we try and look past them in towards our left-hand side. Jensen outside the penalty area, finds Damsgaard inside the box. Damsgaard looking to try and send over the cross, delivers it, goes towards that far side of the penalty area. Rueslef retrieves it outside the box. Plymouth defending in numbers. McHomer sends over the cross, it's a high one. Pleguezuelo will head it away. Whittaker again does well, drops his shoulder and runs clear. He's quite tall, isn't he? Quite lean as well, Morgan Whittaker. As they go long, up towards Michael Baidoo, the Ghanaian international. Header back from Kim, tied it up by Vandenberg. Brentford back in possession.
Yeah, Whittaker out on the right, sort of as the front of the 3 on the right-hand side.
Here is Damsgaard. Looks like he's been the go-to man, hasn't it, for Brentford today. Carvalho now takes over left corner of the area. Everything going through Damsgaard. Plays it in. Headed out by Galloway at the back there for Plymouth Argyle. Picked up by Kim midway through the Plymouth half. Rueslef shuffles the ball on the inside. Plymouth, with the exception of Baidoo, have every green shirt back. Come on, Brentford is the cry from the home support. Damsgaard tries to thread a ball through. Brentford, though, there is no way through at the moment. Carvalho, this stubborn defence will not yield at this stage. We've been playing for 5 minutes into the second half. Let's go to Vandenberg. There's a player down, stoppage in play. Let's go to Chelsea, John Southall.
Just kicked off in the second half. Chelsea 1, Morecambe 0. Nathan Kunku can't quite control that one. Triple change for Chelsea at half-time. Cucurella, Gusto, Sancho on for Neto, James and Lavia. Obviously Lavia and James have been out injured recently, so I presume that was pre-planned. Chelsea 1, Morecambe 0.
Before today, Everton, Wycombe, Cardiff, Fulham and Aston Villa booked their place in the 4th round. In the earlier games, Birmingham beat Lincoln, Wolves beat Bristol City, Blackburn Rovers won away at the Riverside at Middlesbrough, Liverpool saw off the challenge of Accrington Stanley, and Leicester City since have knocked out Queen's Park Rangers by 6-2. The fact that Bournemouth are winning 4-1 at home to West Brom, that would be 11 sides if you include Bournemouth assured of their place, as we'll get an update from Nottingham Forest with Lee Blakeman.
2-1, he's just been played in, 12 yards out, putting his shot straight at Kaminski. Should be 2, but it's still Forest 1, Luton 0.
Trying to see, it was Pleguezuelo who was the one been getting the treatment.
Yeah, he's just looking at how Plymouth have come out in this second half, and you're looking at Whittaker, as we were talking about him being a tall, lean player. I actually expected him to switch with Baidoo up front to say, just be more of a target, be more of a threat. I think he is. You can ask more questions of the Brentford back line, and it might be something that we see later on, but for Brentford, that one real opening in the second half was a real chance there, and suddenly made the game a little bit more alive.
Yeah, there does feel to be a little bit more jeopardy now, bearing in mind that it's got to be settled on the night, with extra time and penalties as a possibility, as we are now 52 minutes into this contest. The ball goes long and safely managed back, and it is worth pointing out too that Plymouth Argyle have restricted Brentford to limited opportunities in this game so far. Ball played short by Pleguezuelo, cleared then by Palsson. Bouncing ball, nodded forward by Vandenberg. Jensen lifts it up, although as Rob Green quite rightly pointed out, they do have players such as Johan Wissa, Brian Mbeumo and Keane Lewis Potter, who are waiting to come off the bench if required, because bearing in mind that Manchester City come here on Tuesday in the Premier League, the last thing that Thomas Frank will want is to be going into that game on the back of either extra time or penalties.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you'd rather bring him on for 20 minutes and win the game than have to scrape through another 30 minutes, because the backstory with Brentford is the injuries that they've got. Carvalho, Nico Henry today coming back from injury, they're going to have to be managed. It's still very much a work in progress.
It is. Me, Aya, Da Silva, Thiago, Hickey, Pinnock, they're all out on the sidelines. Whittaker was fouled as Kevin Nanskaville down below is getting, I think, planning maybe a change. He'll be very, very content with the way that his team have defended so far, under the watchful eye of the incoming Miron Mušlić, the Austrian, as Pleguezuelo gets the ball back from the free kick. Another goal at Stamford Bridge. John Southall.
Chelsea have their second. Chelsea 2, Morecambe 0. Vega's shot was saved. There was Nkunku on the rebound. 13 to the season. Chelsea 2, Morecambe 0.
They were leading 2-0 when Bradford City produced one of the greatest FA Cup upsets, but I don't think that for Morecambe 23rd in League 2, that they are necessarily going to replicate what Phil Parkinson did a number of years ago now, as here we are in West London. This would still be an upset though, wouldn't it, if the bottom of the table of the Championship, Plymouth, were to produce a goal. Brentford, they were seeing a lot of the ball but just not creating much with it.
No, and you're looking and saying they haven't really got an out-and-out centre forward on the pitch. Shada's drifting very, very wide. He's looking to create the overload out wide, where they had success in the first half, but in that, you're looking at Plymouth, who've just adjusted. They've just got a very big split between their centre halves, because there's no one in the middle of the pitch occupying them. They can say, well, we can adjust like that, we can take that risk, we can leave that gap, so they're comfortable.
6 changes that Thomas Frank made. Incidentally, that game on Tuesday against Manchester City will be his 300th game in charge since when he was appointed in October 2018. He's since signed a 4.5-year deal in 2 years ago, Christmas Eve 2022 it was, as Maghoma onto the ball inside the centre circle over the halfway line, tries to get Ruaslep away, but Mumba was alert to it. They signed him for £1 million from Norwich. Began his career at Sunderland, the left wing back, tried to come forward, stopped though by Maghoma, who's back on the ball now, and then he's been caught in possession. Plymouth still battling away. Referee Bentona will give a free kick to the home side. They take it quickly, and then the header runs away off Brendan Galloway's head and out for a throw for Brentford.
Yeah, you're looking at Brentford and they won the ball back in quick succession 3-4 times there, and I think that's the ploy you've got to take. You say, look, risk it because you can play safe all night and not score. Risk it, you know you're going to win it back. Tire down the Plymouth defence.
His clipboard is in hand with his mini whiteboard with the little discs there, looking to try and hope his side can find a way through as the cross is hoisted in from the right. But at the minute, Plymouth continue to be stubborn opposition. Whittaker with a back heel. Sorinola down the line, given away cheaply, straight towards Henry. He'll do well actually to last an hour, I would imagine, Rico Henry, after such a long time out.
I just saw him then just pass the ball away and both legs went stiff. Imagine coming out for the second half, just desperately keen to try and get warm again. You've got Lewis Potter on the bench, who's been playing there and providing opportunities and goals.
Lewis Potter, who this week signed a new deal, as Yarmouk tries to come forward, shows his strength, runs them with the ball to the edge of the area. The referee plays the advantage. Jensen, right corner of the box, his cross takes a deflection, stooping to head the ball down was Randall in the midfield. Opportunity for Beidou to hang on to it. He's going to have to go it alone. He's the isolated green shirt up against 4 red and white striped shirts. He goes to ground, but he gets a free kick. He had nothing else on, did the Ghanaian.
Oh, it's ridiculous from Magoma. He was one of 5 Brentford players around him, and the only Plymouth player within 30 yards of the ball was Beidou, who says, I'll tell you what, thank you very much. That buys us a couple of minutes up the pitch and releases the pressure just when Brentford, the wave after wave, was beginning to grow, completely taken any pressure out of the situation.
I was listening to Andy Woodman, who will have commentary tomorrow of Newcastle United Bromley, and he was just saying, it's funny, the FA Cup, there is always a shock. And he says, why can't it be us? So Bromley will travel to St James's Park, hoping to do what Cambridge United did a couple of years, or 2 or 3 years ago. But for Plymouth Argyle, they might be thinking it could be us. With just over half an hour to go, still 0-0. Whittaker, near side the right. Whittaker sends over the cross, right waits. And it was alert defending by Rueslef. It was dropping right onto the head there of Callum Wright. He was poised, but Rueslef flicked it behind for a corner kick, 0-0.
Right from the touchline, it's a brilliant cross from so deep. He asked all the questions, the timing was there, the weight was there, everything was there. It was a full stretch defending from Rueslef at the far post, and Plymouth again weathering that storm and just growing into the game.
They have hardly threatened the Brentford goal, but they have a corner kick now over on that far side in front of their travelling support. Nearly 2,500 in terrific voice as well. Sorinola rolls it short. Beidou plays it back towards Sorinola, delivers the ball. Valdemarson gathers it in well. Let's get an update from Reading with Becky Ives.
Luca Cagliostre weaved his way into the box on the right-hand side, got a shot away, but Ladke down in the Burnley goal, got down to hold it. That's pretty much all that's happened in this second half. Reading 0, Burnley 0.
I was saying earlier, Becky, we're the only 2 games that are goalless so far. Reading, Burnley, and this one, Brentford, against Plymouth Argyle, who are going to make a change with Mustafa Bundu, who's going to be coming on. Last played on Boxing Day. Coming back after injury, getting his final instructions, and as Rob Green quite rightly said, Keane Lewis Potter, who this week signed the new deal until 2031, will be coming on to replace Rico Henry at left back. Let's go to Carrow Road. Chris Coles.
Norwich 0, Brighton 2. Needless to say, the next goal in this game has to be a Norwich one if they harbour any ambitions of coming back into it. It doesn't look likely. In fact, Brighton have had a good chance to go 3-0 up. Minter racing through, but a heavy touch allowed George Long to smother. Norwich 0, Brighton 2.
Michael Beidou scored the winner for Elfsborg against Roma in the Europa League. He was hoping on his debut to try and be the match winner in the FA Cup, but his debut has lasted an hour. He is replaced by Bundu up front, who will certainly offer much more of a physical threat as well in terms of height and stature. And Mbumo is also going to be coming on for Brentford.
There's a presence up front for Plymouth, and they've just got to get that quality of the ball to him, get around him. Beidou worked hard. He's up against the 2 centre halves and the fullbacks at times on his own.
0-0, it is still the scoreline. Yarmouk right hand side. Carvalho drops deep. All the noise coming from the Plymouth support. Maghoma seeing a lot of the ball, tried to get a shot. Bundu is back there to take the ball away from him to dispossess. 16,790 is the attendance here inside the GTEC Community Stadium, and as we've said on a couple of occasions, that allocation of 2,457, it was a sellout. They could have sold many more. They're enjoying their day.
They're jumping right now because they're attacking the goal to their end, and it doesn't take much to get them excited. The ball down that end, just a bit of a presence, and you know what, they came with so little belief about how they could do anything against such a strong Brentford side at home. Now, half an hour to go, thinking why not?
Celtic earlier beat Ross County by 4-1. They're 18 points clear. Hibs lead Motherwell 2-0. St Mirren 0. Dundee United 0 is a latest score. As here the ball should go back towards Hazard in goal for Plymouth Argyle. We'll go to Norwich. Chris Coles.
Brighton are surely through to the 4th round of the FA Cup, now leading Norwich by 3-0. Young Brad Hills badly caught out. Enciso robbed him of possession, finished off the inside of the post. Norwich 0, Brighton 3.
So elsewhere in the competition, with Brighton looking good, Bournemouth 4-1 up at home to West Bromwich Albion as Henry comes forward on this near side, the left. Chelsea Morecambe, Chelsea are leading. Nottingham Forest are leading as well, Luton Town. In terms of Premier League sides, Brentford here have the battle. There's going to be a double change. Indeed, let's get an update from John Southall at Stamford Bridge.
Chelsea 2, Morecambe 0. A rare Morecambe attack, slew down the left-hand side, got to the byline. His shot straight at Jorgensen at the moment. Fairly comfortable this for Chelsea. Chelsea lead Morecambe 2-0.
Yarmouk comes off and Bumo will come on. 13 goals that he's scored this season. And as widely predicted, Lewis Potter is going to replace Rico Henry. But after making his long-awaited return from injury, what a valuable run out for 62 minutes for Rico Henry. And what an ovation he's getting too.
Yeah, standing ovation from everyone within the stadium, and he played really well actually. That's been the most threatening, him and Damsgaard down the left-hand side when they've linked up. Now they've got Mbeumo, who's very much a goal-scoring threat, and Lewis Potter, who's an attacking player playing at left-back. The message is there. Brentford are going to go for this now. Seen enough.
Well, he made a big difference when they lost in the League Cup quarter-final to Newcastle at St James's Park, as Jensen with a corner kick, punched out by Hazard, goes straight towards Mumba, who tries to run it out on the edge of his area, and he is fouled, and that will be a free kick to Plymouth. And we are now 27 minutes away from extra time.
Yeah, well, you're looking at a quarter of the game, and further the game goes on, Plymouth will turn around and say there's less and less time to defend, and there's no better time to score than in the last minute, and they'll come to the game dreaming of a win. Any form of a result for them is a massive bonus in the course of their season. This has been enough for them just to say, we've pushed Brentford this far so much, even if they don't take anything from it, but it's still there for them for sure.
Certainly is. Valdemarson has just put the ball straight out of play midway through the Brentford half for a Plymouth throw. 0-0 it remains. BBC Radio 5 Live, the World Service and BBC Sounds. Mumba gets the ball back, runs forward, sees a gap, darts into it. Right is in support, right's cross from the left. It's a deep one. Sarinola arriving, couldn't get over it. And his header is off target. That was a chance, 0-0.
The best chance of the game for Sarinola, the right wing back, stealing in at the far post, completely unmarked, and he was there to attack. It was a brilliant cross from Callum Wright, deep on the left-hand side. He got up, he's met it, got under it, no real conviction in the header, but Plymouth again growing into this and really attacking the end with their fans. There's a real atmosphere of an upset on.
Sunderland have equalised at home to Stoke City in the FA Cup. We'll get news of that goal on Wearside in a moment. But Damsgaard comes forward now. Damsgaard rolls it into the area. Cleared away by Palsson. Only as far as Maghoma. That's a misplaced pass that will go out of play for a Plymouth throw. But November the 5th was the last time that Plymouth won. Since then, they've drawn 5, they've lost 6. In fact, it's only 1 win in 16 since the start of October. But Kevin Nanscoville, who claps and urges on his players, offers the encouragement, and I don't think that noisy bunch from Devon have stopped singing all afternoon. They are creating a great atmosphere here, and that will still give that belief to the Plymouth players. As Randall back towards Mumba, turns, loses the ball. Brentford come forward, but coming across was Victor Palsson, 33 years of age, very experienced defender. Out of play, it goes for a Brentford throw. Before we get news of that goal at Sunderland, we'll go to another goal, this time Nottingham Forest, Lee Blakeman.
2-0 to Forest, good move down the right, low cross in, picked out Ramon Sosa, 8 yards out, side foot, bottom corner, Forest are surely through, leading Luton 2-0.
A reminder, we'll be at the City Ground on Tuesday night. Every game next week in the Premier League, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, is live on the BBC Radio 5 Live network, whether that's 5 Live, Sports Extra or BBC Online. As a throw comes in on that far side, the right. It's a long one, in towards the penalty area. Damsgaard guides his header towards Carvalho, who shoots low. Took a deflection on its way through off the left foot, edge of the area. Behind for a corner kick to Brentford, still goalless.
Yeah, it's the second ball, it's the drop ball, it's one that they don't deal with properly, Plymouth, and they have got a weakness of not being able to deal with crosses, and they've done okay so far, a couple of short corners which they didn't deal with, but apart from that, dealt with everything. All of a sudden, just that little glimpse to say, be on your mettle, it's not quite right.
And Mbeumo is the player who places the ball down on that far side. Brentford attacking from right to left, far side the right, and Mbeumo. It's a high one, it's curling towards the far post, it curls away over everybody's heads. Carvalho collects it, left side, back then to Vandenberg, left corner of the area. Here is Ruerslev, midway through the Plymouth half, every green shirt back behind the ball on this freezing evening now, and in fact the referee has spotted an infringement, and that was flag was off. Mbeumo coming back for an offside position. That'll be a free kick to Brentford. So let's get new to that. Sunderland equaliser from Andy Sixsmith.
Thanks, Ian. Sunderland 1, Stoke 1. Lovely play from Sunderland. Slipped into the penalty area, and there was substitute Milan Aleksic to dispatch a cool finish past Victor Johansson. On for extra time and penalties, it's 1-1.
Bournemouth lead West Brom 4-1, 0-0 here. Chelsea 2-0 up at home to Morecambe. Exeter 2, Oxford United 1. Exeter coming from behind. Norwich 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 3. Nottingham Forest 2, Luton Town 0, Reading 0, Burnley 0, Sunderland 1, Stoke 1, as we've just heard. As here now are Brentford coming forward, and it's with Maghoma. Central position, midway through the Plymouth half. Jensen along the ground. Finds Lewis Potter, an opportunity to run at Sorinola. Passes the ball back inside. Carvalho back towards Lewis Potter. Sorinola, though, has seen that one coming and cut the ball out. He has Whittaker away towards him, and Whittaker went to let the ball run out of play, and Plymouth then clear it long. Another goal at Exeter, Paul Scott.
The shock could be on, because League One Exeter lead Oxford by 3-1 now. Caleb Watts feeding through Vincent Harper, a left-footed finish into the bottom corner. Exeter 3, Oxford 1.
Could it be a Devon double? Could Plymouth still, as we're midway through the second half, conjure something up here at the G-Tech Community Stadium? Brentford have lost in the third round in each of the last 2 seasons, albeit against Premier League opposition in Wolves and West Ham. And for Plymouth Argyle, you have to go back to 1984 for the last time that they knocked out top-flight opposition. And what a run that was. They got to the semi-finals. They're coming forward now. Whittaker onto his left foot, shoots and strikes the back of right and takes a lot of the sting out of it, and it's easily gathered in by Valdemarson.
Well, the press has gone from Brentford. What they had right was when they did lose it, they were pressing and pressing hard and pressing in numbers. Now it's a bit disparate, it's a bit 1s and 2s rather than 4s and 5s.
Ball played forward by Damsgaard, flag is raised. And this now is the only goalless game in the 3 o'clocks in the FA Cup, because at Reading you've had a goal, Becky Ives.
It's taken 70 minutes, but Lyle Foster has finally found the back of the net from very close range. He tapped it in. Reading 0, Burnley 1.
A double change is going to be made. Wisser is going to be coming on. Collins is also going to be coming on, as Thomas Frank making more changes. Paris Maghoma is the player coming off. His full debut for Brentford. He makes way for Johan Wisser, and Collins comes on for Vandenberg.
Yeah, another attacking change there. A midfielder for us coming off and a centre forward coming on. We've got Carvalho on the left-hand side, Visser in behind Chada, and Buemo on the right-hand side along with Damsgaard. There's a creative influence. I think as Brentford go, that's all their attacking influence is out on the pitch now. They've got 20 minutes to make a difference.
Well, Plymouth are also going to be making a change. We saw earlier a debut for Beidou, who they signed for £1 million. They've got international clearance through yesterday for the Polish international, who's arrived from Holstein Kiel in Germany. The left back, Timotojasz Pukac, is going to be coming on. It is a loan with an option to buy, and he's quite a strapping fella, 25 years of age, fair hair, and in fact also Giab is going to be coming on too, who's on loan from Leeds United. But Brentford coming forward, Jensen stopped by Randall, and we've got 18 minutes remaining. It remains 0-0. If there is to be a story so far in the FA Cup at 3 o'clock, it's going to come here live on 5 Live. As Plymouth now bomb forward. Mumba with a cross, it was a low one. Stretching was Kim, behind he goes for a corner. Those Plymouth fans still believe.
And it's a stretch game now. It's really stretched. The Brentford players, the attack-minded ones, are saying, well, we're just going to stay up here. We don't want extra time, we want to win this now. Plymouth say, we've been in this game, we've fought for 70 minutes, let's go take full advantage.
The supporters making a racket where Sorinola waits to take the corner kick on that far side. It remains 0-0. 5 Live in the World Service. Sorinola curls it in. It's a high one towards the far post. Randall leaping, beaten in the air by Sharda. Drops towards Galloway, tries to turn. Sharda was right behind him, got a foot into the challenge. Goes out for a Plymouth throw, right down by the corner flag. Kevin Nanscoville still wants to make the double change, but I think he might well wait until Sorinola trots across to this near side. He looks down the bench, down towards the bench, but no, it's not going to be made just as yet. Whittaker plays it infield from the throw. Randall able to turn. Delicate ball to Whittaker, tall and lean, shows good footwork, can't go past 3 players though, loses the ball. The green shirts try and win it back. Damsgaard manages to get it out towards Ruersleff. Room to run into for Ruersleff over the halfway line. By my watch, we have 17 minutes before we go into extra time. Ruersleff had his arm pulled back there. The referee spots it too. That'll be a free kick to Brentford. Now they want to make the double change.
There's a real urgency in the game now. You can see it, the sense, the nerves on them, both benches within the stadium as well, that you're saying, well, there's a real possibility. Brentford never envisaged, I don't think, being this tight a game. Plymouth, I don't think they envisaged having this much of a chance to win it.
16 minutes remain. Still the Plymouth substitutes warm up on this freezing afternoon as Jensen and Mbumo stand over the free kick, which is a matter of yards away from the right corner of the penalty area, as Brentford in those red and white striped shirts play from right to left as we look. So they've got a number of aerial targets. Collins is up from the back, he's just on the field of play. Kim is there too, Wissa's involved. Sharda, who will take it? Jensen, right-footed, rather flat ball in. Randall was stretching, and then it will be cleared away by Roberts. Another goal at Stamford Bridge, John Southall.
Chelsea 3, Morecambe 0. Tosin Adarabioyo with his second of the game, this time another 25-yarder, no deflection needed, picked his spot, curled it in, and that is that. Chelsea 3, Morecambe 0.
No way back for Chelsea. For Morecambe, after Chelsea had missed a penalty whilst it was 0-0, but Chelsea going safely through to round 4. Brentford still have a bit of work to do with a quarter of an hour remaining. Jensen, Damsgaard. Darkness now descending in this part of West London. Collins gives it towards Wissa, dropping deep on the halfway line. Damsgaard is ahead of him, as is Lewis Potter. Lewis Potter now comes back, finds Carvalho, able to turn. Carvalho runs forward, holds off the challenge of Roberts, passes the ball out towards Mbumo, right corner of the area. Ruersleff on the overlap, slice clearance, might fall towards Jensen, doesn't take it first time, pulls the ball back, Wissa's shot, deflected behind for a corner. Great block came in from Randall. 3-4 of his teammates go and pat him on the back of his shirt.
They're just charged over, celebrated with him. He's had all the time to pick his spot there. But Randall sensed the danger and got across. These 2 subs below us are going to have to do another warm-up again. They've been waiting that long to come on.
So a corner kick for Brentford. We have 14 minutes remaining of normal time. No replays, of course. Has to be settled here and now. Mbumo lofts it in. Collins with a header. Half appeals for handball there. Plymouth clatter the ball away. Another goal at Norwich, Chris Coles.
Brighton showing no signs of their stuttering Premier League form, now leading Norwich by 4-0. And a nice moment for Solly March, out for such a long time, but he's just bent in superbly from the edge of the area. Norwich 0, Brighton 4.
Lewis Potter can't deliver the cross. Carvalho will deliver the ball. Randall heads it away. Edge of the penalty area for Plymouth. Only as far as Ruersleff. Gives it to Collins. Back towards Ruersleff once again. Jensen now has a bit of room to run into. As he waits, slows down, as he's approached by Roberts. Out towards the left touchline. Lewis Potter fires in the cross. Repelled by the head of Pleguezuelo. Comes then towards Whittaker. Whittaker waits. Infield it goes. Right. touches the ball, runs back, drops inside his own half, central position, out towards Mumba. Another goal at Reading, this time in the Cup, Becky Ives.
They've got one back, Reading 1, Burnley 1. Lewis Wing from outside the box, absolutely nothing on. He took a shot and it's a nightmare for Vaclav Ladke in the goal. He was directly behind it and it just went straight through his legs. Reading 1, Burnley 1.
They're back playing at Swindon 0, Crewe 0. As Brentford go long, up towards Wissa. Palsson holds him up, waits for the support of Carvalho. Can he get the shot away? He can, but right-footed, he's curled it a good foot wide of that right-hand post. 0-0 it remains, and under 13 minutes remaining. In fact, he took a deflection on its way through a corner kick.
Yeah, it was a wrong decision though. Wermo was charging in, waiting for the ball to be laid back to him on the edge of the box, and no one in this Brentford team is anyone to stop him having the chance, and it's just a bad decision. But that's the first time there's indecision in the Plymouth defence. Didn't deal with the long ball forward.
12 minutes remain. Mbumo, corner kick, far side to right. Temperature dropping in West London. In it comes now. And the ball headed behind by Brendan Galloway, who they signed 4 years ago from Luton Town. Began his career at Everton. Strong defending from Galloway. Another corner to come in from the right-hand side. Elsewhere, Bournemouth 4, West Brom 1, Chelsea 3, Morecambe 0, Exeter 3, Oxford 1, Norwich 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 4, Forest lead Luton 2-0, Reading 1, Burnley 1, Sunderland 1, Stoke City 1. Mbumo now delivers the corner, it's an in-swinger. Didn't he climb well, Victor Palsson? 33 years of age. He was leaping so high to powerfully head the ball away. Still, Pukac and Giabi wait to come on. Must be close to 5 minutes since we said they were waiting to come onto the field of play. As Brentford and Collins will go back. Another goal at Chelsea, John Southall.
Chelsea 4, Morecambe 0. João Felix this time on the edge of the D into the bottom left-hand corner. Chelsea 4, Morecambe 0.
Remember, we've got commentary to come from Ellen Road. Leeds United, Harrogate Town with John Murray and Paul Robinson. As Mbumo can't gather that ball in as it was played up to him on that right-hand side. Carvalho with the interception, 25 yards out from goal. Galloway manages to get the ball clear, up towards Bundu, out towards right. Whittaker is joining the attack as well. Green shirts coming forward, right running to the edge of the penalty area, out to his left. Bundu pulls it back, Whittaker can't get there. Damsgaard was the one who cleared it away just before it reached Whittaker. Out it goes for a Plymouth throw, 0-0.
Oh, they had a 3v3 and Whittaker was the man in space, and Bundu decided to go the other way. Nozkavili on this side, and Whittaker screaming for the ball. He's ignored. They're put out of their misery. They can finally come on, the two subs. Getting colder and colder. They might need the length the rest of the game to get warmed up again.
Brendan Galloway is going to be coming off. Interesting to see now whether Pukac replaces him on the left of defence or whether he goes to left back and they push Ballymumba into a more of an advanced position. And I mean, we talk about Brentford not wanting extra time and the possibility of penalties because they're playing Manchester City at home on Tuesday. Plymouth Argyle have got a vital game in the Championship at home against Oxford on Tuesday night. So Galloway's embraced. Randall is the other player who's been coming off. He has put in a real shift in the midfield, Adam Randall.
Yeah, been brilliant and marshalled it really well and managed the game really well in the centre of midfield, and you've just got to have in there, just say, look, just don't go through the middle of us. They've suffered so much this season from that, and he's done his job today, and they've done that defensive job centrally really, really well.
Nice work by Wright on that left-hand side, and he gets a throw about 8 yards up from the corner flag on that far side. Plymouth playing from left to right. It does make you wonder, the display that they've put in today, as to how they are struggling at the bottom of the Championship. I mean, Wayne Rooney only had 5 wins from his 25 games before he was sacked at New Year. Here is Whittaker cutting inside. Whittaker coming in from that right touch line, going into a central area. Left-footed shot! Oh, what a goal by Morgan Whittaker! Plymouth Argyle with 8 minutes remaining might well be knocking out Brentford. 41 years ago they last knocked out top flight opposition. Whittaker kept on going and he finds the bottom left hand corner. much to the delight of the travelling Plymouth support. Brentford 0, Plymouth 1.
The away end re-ups. The away bench has erupted down in front of us. Everyone's hugging, everyone's cheering. They can't quite believe it. They've grown into the game more and more, and Whittaker has been given the space and time to drift across almost 3/4 of the pitch. Brentford are appealing that Bundu is in an offside position and is interfering with the sight of the goalkeeper. There's no VAR. This has changed the minds of the referee. He says, I tell you what, that's a brilliant goal, and you cannot take it away from him. It is a brilliant goal. It's a goal good enough to win any cup tie. They've got a real chance now.
We said the story, if there was to be one, would be here. And Plymouth Argyle are leading by 1-0 with 7 minutes remaining now. They have defended so stoutly throughout. They will put their bodies on the line now, without a shadow of a doubt. And Brentford have got very little time, just to force extra time. Amidst the din, you could be forgiven for thinking we're at Home Park. But a corner of Home Park is here in West London, making all the noise as a high ball goes towards the penalty area and it drops behind and out for a goal kick. But Morgan Whittaker could be the Plymouth hero. Motherwell have got a goal back at Easter Road in the Scottish Premiership. Hibs 2, Motherwell 1. As we will go to Chelsea and John Southall.
Chelsea 5, Morecambe 0. João Felix on the left-hand side, curled it into the top right-hand corner. He's been terrific today. Chelsea 5, Morecambe 0.
The last FA Cup shock that they caused 41 years ago was against West Bromwich Albion in terms of top-flight opposition. They were a Division 3 side then. They were managed by John Hoare. It was 1-0 at the Hawthorns. Tommy Tynan got the goal in what was then the 5th round, in a year that they lost to Watford in the semi-finals at Villa Park. 16 FA Cup ties since against top-flight opposition. They've been commended for their play at Arsenal, Liverpool and Chelsea in recent years. We talked about them taking the lead at Stamford Bridge 3 years ago. They were unable to hang on to it then. They lost by 2-1. They only have another 6 more minutes to hang on here as they lead 1-0.
Well, you have to say, we felt it coming. The stadium sensed it's coming. Plymouth felt it coming. The fans behind the goal. Everything pointed towards an upset, towards a real chance for them. We didn't know where it was going to come from. And that individual brilliance from Whittaker was there. That's created the answer.
5 minutes remain. Lewis Potter near side the left to Jensen, chips the ball forward. Lewis Potter gets his head onto it, into the penalty area. Mumba, he's had a good game, gets it away for Plymouth, only as far as Collins. Those green shirts aren't going to venture too far now, as the ball is played out towards Lewis Potter, sends over a cross, drops, heads out by Mumba, and Bundu is unable to control that bouncing ball. Brentford will come again, right hand side, and Mbumo held up on that far side by Wright, and he'll get a throw for Plymouth Argyle.
The manager, or caretaker, interim manager Kevin Nascaville, down on the side, is living every second of this, pacing up and down. The dugout is alive. There's no substitutions coming on. It's just everyone with nervous energy, desperate to see these last few minutes through.
Oxford United, who are trailing 3-1 in the cup at Exeter, are down to 10 men. Tyler Goodrum has been sent off. Brentford looking for an equaliser to force extra time. 4 minutes remain. Plymouth Argyle, bottom of the Championship, lead by 1-0. As they cross, he's headed away and then volleyed further clear by Mumba. Bundu will give chase. Kim has to go all the way back to Valdemarson, who plays it with urgency. Forward to Collins. Half-time in League 2, Swindon 0, Crewe 0 in that delayed game in League 2. Lewis Potter up towards Wisser, side onto goal, turns, left corner of the penalty area, plays the ball in on the half volley. Pukac can clear the ball away, the Polish international, for Plymouth Argyle. What a platform this could be to try and launch a survival bid in the Championship. Wisser stopped by a strong challenge by Blegethuelo on the edge of the area, but it's just going to keep coming back. Going to be a long 4 and a bit minutes this for Plymouth. As Brentford attack, Ruislef back towards Damsgaard. Could be a third successive exit from the third round for Brentford. Not what many people would have turned up today to envisage. As Damsgaard, 6 changes that they made, still strong enough you would have thought. Here is Carvalho. Carvalho's shot goes up in the air off the legs of Victor Paulsen and gathered by the tall figure of Connor Hazard.
It's just bodies, so many bodies in the way. Plymouth, it's a 30-yard pitch, effectively, what they're playing in when they haven't got the ball. They're saying, Bundu, you're our forward man, you're 30 yards out, let's just defend. And it's only a matter of seeing out another 5, 6, 7 waves of attack, and that's it. And they've had a result of the season for themselves.
2.5 minutes remain. Ruislef charges forward for Brentford. Out towards Mbumo. Mbumo with the cross, Wissa arriving. Brilliant defending. I think it was Plegathwello who went back with him, matched him stride for stride, and did just enough to put off Wissa inside the 6-yard area.
Yeah, wonderful defending under his own crossbar, charging towards his own goal. Had to get something on the ball and got enough to get it over the bar. He made the mistake there of venturing a little bit away from their own goal and opened up. They've just got to sit in now. No ideas of any kind of attacking, just clear the ball, get it away from goal.
Hibs now lead Motherwell by 3-1. They've restored their 2-goal cushion at Easter Road in the Scottish Premiership. By my watch, we have just over 90 seconds remaining. Plegathwello has stayed down inside the 6-yard area, central position inside that penalty area. The physio is on, but Brentford are keen for him to leave the field of play.
Well, it's a real error if it is a time-wasting stint through cramp. That he's got to go off now that he's been treated, and he's been a rock at the back. And you're looking at a player who's been one of the main attributes in clearing all the crosses. They're about to face a corner.
They picked it up on a free from 20 Enschede in 2023, but as you say now, he's going to have to be off the field for at least 30 seconds, where Brentford will now try to utilise that extra man at this set piece.
Yeah, they're not a big side, and Brentford, Collins loitering around the penalty spot, sat there going, right, OK, let's take full advantage. We've been poor today, but we can nick a goal from a set piece and stay in the cup tie. We back ourselves to win it.
Plegathwello is on his feet, but he's not running too freely. But there's the corner kick, waits to be taken with 30 seconds remaining of normal time, and we'll see how much added on time there will be. Brentford will have an extra man now, as Plymouth will desperately try to protect their slender lead. Mbumo with the corner, right-hand side, keeper gets something on it. The referee, though, has blown his whistle. There was a foul inside that crowded penalty area, and much to Plymouth's delight, they've been awarded a free kick.
It's a gift, isn't it? That under the crossbar, Connor Hazard not dealing with it entirely convincingly, just getting something on it. But Wissa penalised, and relief for Plymouth.
Ogbita is going to be coming on. Nathaniel Ogbita, 23-year-old defender. Defensive reinforcements, and maybe Plegathwello is unable to continue. The bench are looking. They're trying to look for the thumbs up from Plegathwello. He's still hobbling. Haven't seen if the fourth official has ventured out yet. I think he might well be looking just to try and see and get this substitution out of the way with the electronic board. The player who's going to be going off is Callum Wright, back after a 3-match ban after that sending off against Coventry on Boxing Day. He's done well, he's put in a good shift on that far side, had a chance in the first half, but this now is very much a defensive change just to try and see this game out. 6 minutes of added on time, which we're now into. Dundee United have got a late goal in Paisley in the Scottish Premiership. St Mirren 0, Dundee United 1. 6 minutes of additional time. Plegathwello is back on the field of play as Victor Paulsen shouts a rallying call to his team. Come on, he says. You could almost hear him from here.
It's everything out there. Leave everything out there now. Alberto, who's a defensive-minded player, is just waited. The Plymouth side, Plymouth management just waited for the thumbs up from Plegathwello. Got it. So, OK, we're back to defending. No ideas of venturing forward now.
Ball given away by Plymouth to Jensen. Mbumo quickly to Ruislef. A lot of urgency here for the Premier League side. BBC Radio 5 Live. The World Service and available on the BBC Sounds app. And if you're a Plymouth fan just joining in, then you can rewind probably on the BBC Sounds app to hear that Morgan Whittaker goal again. And it was a fine goal as he drifted in from the right touchline, central area, left-footed, found the bottom left-hand corner. And Plymouth Argyle making a mockery of their league position and their away form as well. Leading Brentford 1-0. Brentford, who have the second best home record in the Premier League, only bettered by leaders Liverpool. Although they've lost their last two at home, Forest and Arsenal, not many expected them to have lost this one. Bournemouth have just rattled in a fifth goal. Bournemouth 5, West Bromwich Albion 1 in the FA Cup. Plymouth lead 1-0. Whittaker releases Bundu, he's away, he'll keep the ball in play, enters the penalty area right hand side. Bundu loses it then inside the Brentford penalty area. 2 minutes of the 6 to be played in additional time have now elapsed as Carvalho comes forward. Lewis Potter held up there by Sorinolo, and that will be a free kick to Brentford, 10 yards inside the Plymouth half. Rob Green.
Bundu did brilliantly to keep the ball in and then dribbled inside, and you think, what are you doing? Just take it in the corner. Immediately Brentford on the attack.
Nottingham Forest are through. They've beaten Luton Town 2-0. Lewis Potter delivers the ball, headed out by Giabi, the substitute for Plymouth Argyle, who still lead by a goal to nil. We'll give you all the scores as they come in on the video printer. As Mbeumo on that far side, held up by a combination of not just Balimumba but also Ogbita, and Mumba will stay down as well. He's had a very good game.
He's been fantastic, hasn't he? He's a right-sided player playing at left wing-back, and the amount of times he's had to run back inside and clear it with his right foot, all of a sudden you realise, actually, that's really good by design rather than by luck.
Bournemouth have beaten West Bromwich Albion by 5-1. They are through, and Plymouth Argyle might well be joining them, because we are halfway through the 6 minutes of additional time. Reading 1, Burnley 1 is going to extra time because it's finished 1-1 after the 90 minutes. Sunderland Stoke could be going the same way as well. They're the only two ties that are currently level in the 3 o'clock games in the FA Cup this Saturday afternoon on 5 Live. Lewis Potter, 2 and a bit minutes remain. Infield finds Damsgaard. Not long now for Plymouth to hang on to. Carvalho gives Lewis Potter something to chase. Left-hand side of the penalty area. Plays the ball back towards Carvalho. Going into the challenge with Sorinolo. Wins the free kick. He's applauded there by the Plymouth bench.
Brilliant. Tracked it back and sensed the opportunity of Carvalho, who, barring the 2 shots early in the game, has been anonymous. Now, just a moment for Plymouth to get the respite, to steel themselves to the last onslaught, of which it will be just one more left in the game. They've defended brilliantly all game. They've deserved this. They've taken the chance when they can. Connor Hazard made those 2 saves early on. Other than that, Brentford, nothing to note in an attacking sense.
The game plan has been perfectly executed from Kevin Nanskevel and his team. As a player, he was at Tiverton Town. He once scored against Cardiff in an FA Cup first round replay some 24 years ago. But from a personal point of view, this is certainly going to eclipse that for the 53-year-old who's so animated down there. He's appealing for everything in the technical area. We have 75 seconds remaining of additional time. Brentford 0, Plymouth Argyle 1, and Plymouth have been awarded a throw on this near side the right.
And it was celebrated like a goal by the Plymouth fans, who were bathed in sunshine at the start. And that freezing cold, I don't think they give one shot of an iota. They do not care.
They won't be feeling the cold now. Chelsea 5, Morecambe 0, Norwich City 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 4 are 2 more results. We'll give you as much reaction as we can with all the results with Alistair Bruce Ball at full time. Unless Brentford, inside the next 60 seconds, could produce a dramatic equaliser to force extra time here on 5 Live. Jensen challenged by Giabi. He's lost the ball. There's a break here for Plymouth, but Bundu couldn't get the ball to Giabi. He was stopped by Damsgaard. Brentford now will come again. Damsgaard waltzes his way past one challenge. Out to Lewis Potter on the left. 20 seconds remain. Whittaker, the goal scorer. He's picked up an injury. Another Plymouth player is down on the floor. They have put everything on the line here today. They hang on to the ball, it goes out of play for a throw, but you've got two Plymouth players lying on the floor.
There's bodies everywhere. They have put everything on the line. Positionally, you wouldn't say this is one of these shocks of the FA Cup. When you look at the strength that Brentford have shown at home this season and the weakness that Plymouth have had away from home this season, it's got to be up there for surprises. I don't think anyone gave them a chance tonight.
And incredibly, Plymouth Argyle are going to maintain their record of never losing in the FA Cup to Brentford. And the wild scenes of celebration in that far corner of the field, because Plymouth Argyle have got their first win away from home, rooted bottom of the Championship. They have knocked out Premier League Brentford by 1-0 to book a place in round 4 with a real surprise.
They have been absolutely brilliant. They have deserved that. The GTEC Community Stadium is stunned, apart from the 2,500 Plymouth fans who are jubilant. They're dancing in the stands. They'll be dancing in southwest London tonight. The green shirts are out on the pitch. There's players stretching off. They're hugging each other. It's a wonderful occasion for them. It'll give them a real boost for the rest of the season. Just what a fillip this is. What a significant factor in terms of confidence for the rest of the season that they've got. A brilliant away performance by Plymouth.
Certainly was. And what a goal. The only goal, the winning goal from Morgan Whittaker, who on his Swansea debut scored a goal in the FA Cup against Manchester City. Here he is, though, as the match winner for Plymouth Argyle, who have knocked out Brentford. Brentford 0, Plymouth Argyle 1.